Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Mindset Monday. I'm your host, Denise, Zack. Thank you so much for being here. I have got an amazing guest today whom I cannot wait to introduce. But first, I just want to tell you a little bit about this podcast and about Game Plan U today. Game Plan U is an organization that brings together startup founders in the sports tech and innovation industry with executives and residents who are mentors, who are looking for deal flow to mentor and provide support, validation, and expertise to our founders, as well as a career seeker vertical where we bring in students who are looking to get into the sports technology world to build their portfolio, to build their resume. And if you haven't seen Game Plan U before, if you haven't checked us out, please go to www.gameplanu.org. I guarantee you won't be disappointed. It's an amazing community of people. I have one of our EIRs on today on this podcast, and he's a rock star and someone who I know that you all will just love to hear from. And if you have an opportunity, again, to check out Game Plan U, go ahead and do so. If you like this podcast, if you think you want to learn more, then click the subscribe button and like this video and connect with me. And we'll chat. So this podcast is about getting into those 6 inches in between your ears. I want to know what makes you tick. You know, we see people being successful every day, all the time, but we don't realize what's going on behind the scenes. We just look at the success. We say, wow, they're doing it all. They've got it together. They know how to get things done, or they're lucky, or they got the break. Everybody's got a story. Everybody's got a challenge that they have overcome. Everybody is looking for that next step that they're supposed to take to bring their success or their leadership or their business or their life to the next level. And this is what that podcast is for, is to understand how people are doing it. How do you be successful when you are in a challenge and when things are, maybe not going exactly how you want them to go? So without further ado, I'm going to introduce my guest, Mr. Larry Long. He is the founder and CEO of LLJR Enterprises, focusing on sales, motivation, inspiration, training, and coaching. I mean, he's the host of, if you haven't seen it, check it out, Midday Motivational Minute on LinkedIn. He goes live on LinkedIn and YouTube, and he's inspiring and pumping up professionals each Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern. So you should check that out if you haven't already. He's also the co-founder and lead instructor of the Sales Allies, an online sales training course and supportive community designed to uplift the sales community. So check that out. We have a link that I'll share with you a little bit later. But as an experienced sales leader with a demonstrated history of success in SaaS sales, Larry brings a unique perspective to the table, and he understands many of the challenges faced by sales professionals today. So without further ado, I am going to bring on Mr. Larry Long. Hey, Larry.
Hey, good morning. What's going on, Denise? Happy to be here. Thank you.
I'm so glad you're here today. I've been waiting to get you on this podcast. I'm just super excited to have you to be here and just to learn from you and absorb your energy, because you just give up such amazing energy. So thank you for being here today.
Oh, I appreciate it. I had to get my mind right to come here on Mindset Monday.
Right?
Thank you.
You're welcome. So I know I gave a brief introduction, but I really want to hear a little bit about you, about kind of where you're at right now, but what got you here, right? How did you get to where you are today? What is your journey and your path been that has motivated you and kept you going? So tell us a little bit about you, Larry.
Ooh, it's been quite the adventure, and oftentimes misadventure, to keep it real, Denise.
Yeah.
I mean, goodness. As a youngster, I lived in a lot of different cities. My father, both of my parents worked for Department of Veterans Affairs, VA medical centers. So Grand Island, Nebraska, Danville, Illinois, Tuscaloosa, Alabama, Coatesville, Pennsylvania, where they put me in speech classes because I talk with a Southern drawl. They said, "How old are you, little Larry?" I said, "I'm 4." They said, "For what?" I said, "I'm 4 years old." They said, "You can't talk like that here." And then I was born in Maryland and then moved back to Maryland for middle school, high school, played baseball at University of Maryland. Go Terps. I know that you're a UConn Husky, but I'm a Terrapin. My father ran track for Maryland. My sister ran track for Maryland. I'm the black sheep of the family, literally and figuratively playing baseball. I had to explain to him, hey, you run after you hit the ball. But after college, I went I think you're in Melbourne, Florida. I went to spring training, minor league spring training with the Dodgers and the Red Sox. And they said, don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. They said, you got to hit the road, Jack. So when that happened, I took my talents to South Beach, spring break. I had some friends that were on spring break, but I did some work as an IT consultant, and I just wasn't passionate about it. So I moved to Raleigh, opened up an indoor baseball softball academy, had that for a year and a half. And then when we had to shut that down, when we ran out of cash, essentially, I've just been on a journey as a tech sales professional, as well as a sales leader, leading teams. And that's what brings me to you right now. I'm in a bit of a transition, really trying to help so many individuals, so many organizations with taking their game to that next level. So happy to be here.
Yeah, awesome. I love it. And I met you a long time ago, but I've been kind of watching and tuning into your motivational, your midday mindset little tweaks, and they are so inspirational. And you're not on for long, but you pack a punch, right? So I'm just curious how you started that. What was it that made you think, what, I just want to get out there. I just want to help people. I just want to give positivity and give information to people. So tell us a little bit about that.
Denise, I've had the gold mic in my hand for a long while, but I've been on LinkedIn putting out short form content. And a mentor of mine, Morgan Ingram out of Atlanta, said, "Hey, Larry, you got to get on video." I said, I got the face for radio. He said, "No, get on video. It's a game changer." And he said, "Hey, my mentor told me this. If you don't do it, you're being selfish, because all it takes is one person for you to have a positive impact on, for it to be worthwhile." And he told me that on a Friday. I said, "You're not going to call me selfish," and walk away. On Wednesday, I had on my gray "Say Yes to You" t-shirt, which is one of my former high school classmates, Amy Bernier. It's a movement that she has. She's a yoga instructor as well. Say Yes to You movement. I had the gray shirt on, went in my backyard, put the camera on a selfie video, and it took me about 9 recordings. My wife said, "Don't you need some lights?" I said, "Nah, you can't see me." She said, "Are you going to iron your shirt?" I said, "Nah, I'm wrinkly, baby." And that was the start. About a year ago, I think it was April the 24th. So we're coming up on the 1-year anniversary. And so far, I've done 51 episodes. 51 out of the last 52 weeks, I've done an episode.
Wow, I love it. And did the pandemic have anything to do with this shift for you, or was it just kind of natural and just the path that you were on anyway?
The pandemic accelerated it. It really did. And I was so nervous about putting myself out there on video. And Morgan was like, "Just do it, man. You have a good message. You have a positive message that people need to hear." And lo and behold, he was right. Thank you, Morgan. And it's been awesome because we built a community, and the community doesn't even realize how much they've helped me to empower me. So by me serving them, they've been able to help each other, but it's been just a huge blessing in my life. And the pandemic has definitely accentuated more and more people that are looking for positive, because you look at the news, you look out what's going on with the pandemic, with politics, the political climate, protests. It's just nothing but bad news if you turn on the news. So my midday motivational minute every Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern is really designed to provide some positivity, some motivation, inspiration at a time when a lot of us need it, right in the middle of the week, to get us over that hump and carry us through. But every day is a blessing. It really is.
Yeah. And, I love that too, because, your message is about passion and positivity, right? It's all about bringing your energy level up to a place where you believe in yourself, where you believe that you can make a difference, or that you can get to that next step. And I know that I've watched those moments with you, and I have walked away just feeling energized, feeling good, feeling like I've got that next boost that I need. And can you talk about that a little bit? How positivity can impact your drive, your decision making, your energy level?
It makes a world of difference. There's a quote, Henry Ford, whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right.
Right.
And that mindset, that perspective, I mean, it takes the same amount of energy to believe that you can as it does to believe that you can't. So why not believe that you can? And believe you me, I'm human. There's especially with my recent transition, there's a lot of FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt going through my head. But my father, who passed away 5.5 years ago, his voice comes down and it says, hey, Larry, be bold, be brave, step into your courage. And yes, you can. And it's just, it's so reassuring to hear that. And what he shared with me, just as a servant leader working with veterans, is that it's our responsibility to serve others. It's our responsibility to help others because we've been so blessed. I mean, just you and I talking right now puts us in rarefied air where there's so much positive. We've got a roof over our head, we've got clothes on our back, we've got fresh water. I mean, it's the little things that mean so much. But it's tough. It's easy to focus on those things that are going bad. Woe is me. And it's amazing that when you focus on that, it seems to have that snowball effect. Whereas if you intentionally focus on the positive, it's just amazing. I know people want that magic dust. They want that silver bullet, and it doesn't exist. But when you are all about positivity, and you're feeding yourself positivity, whether it's podcasts, books, people that you surround yourself with, it's just magical how just good things seem to happen. Now, don't get it twisted. Bad things happen as well, but I have perspective. And it's like, hey, if I didn't win, I'm going to learn. And I'm going to live, I'm going to learn, and I'm going to love along this journey we call life.
I love it. It's such an amazing message. You know, as a therapist for 20 years, one of the things that I dealt with a lot with people was their staying in the negative and their inability to even see anything outside of it, that there would be one thing going wrong and the whole world was wrong. It's kind of like, you know, you had one issue and then it's like throw the baby out with the bathwater mentality that everything is terrible, right? And not a really good ability to kind of deal with challenges or when something did go wrong and to kind of pull yourself back up by your bootstraps and know that you have inner power inside of you, you know? So I think that that's such an important message. So I'm just curious, you talk about things going wrong, right? Can you tell us a little bit about this latest transition that you've had? I don't think it was necessarily something going wrong, but it was not necessarily the way you maybe planned it or maybe thought in your head would happen. Can you talk a little bit about that and the uncertainty, the fear, uncertainty, and the doubts, that FUD that you just coined? That love that phrase. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah,
And how you worked through it?
I've been thinking about being a motivational speaker for years now. I had 9 corporate engagements in 2018. I didn't make a dime, so it was a hobby. Just people ask me, hey, Larry, will you come in and speak to our team? Sure, sign me up. What do we owe you? Nothing. I've got a full-time job. I enjoy serving others. And I met a coach who said, Larry, respectfully, are you stupid or are you dumb? When I do corporate engagements, they write me a check and there's a couple zeros at the end. And I said, hey, do you, boo-boo? I'm not about that life. And he said, oh, I guess. He said, when you want to turn your little hobby into a business, holla at me. So January 2020 came. I said, holler, holler. I got my first paying engagement in March with a publicly traded company. They wrote me a check. And funny story, they said, Larry, send us your invoice. I said, uh-oh, Larry Long Jr. doesn't have an invoice. I went to Google, found a generic invoice, sent it. They said, we need your W-9. I said, WTF? What you talking about? Where's I have a W-9? I went to the IRS website. I found a W-9. They said the check will be electronically deposited into your account. I said, oh, I like this. I said, can I send y'all some more W-9s? They said, actually, come on back.
I love it.
So I was doing it part-time last year, getting paid. And I knew in my mind that that's what I needed to be doing full-time. But knowing and doing are two separate things. I know I'm not supposed to eat fried food, But if you ask me what time it is, it's bow time. Bojangles, chicken and biscuits all the time.
Right.
So I knew that this was what I was supposed to be doing, but it was just so tough to make that jump. And really, it came from just being scared, not being courageous, and a lot of doubt. My first business, my baseball, well, that's my first business was Lawns by Larry, lawn mowing in the neighborhood. But my second entrepreneurial experience was my baseball academy.
Right.
And we failed spectacularly. We ran out of money. My parents bailed us out. And then they said, oh, you're not a big bank. You're not too big to fail. We love you so much. We're going to let you shut it down. I said, whoa, that's a lot of love. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Dad.
Yeah.
So it was just that fear, that uncertainty, that doubt. I've got 2 beautiful kids. I've got a beautiful wife, and I want to make sure I provide for my family. But I realized I was settling, and I wasn't in my true gifting of really being able to spread a message of positivity, help to uplift. And I'm working on a book right now. I'll give you a little preview. The title is Jolt, and we're really trying to help folks to discover, and a lot of times rediscover, that inner greatness. We all have it inside of us. And as kids, most of us, we have fantastic dreams. I want to be an astronaut. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a fireman, a police officer, a professional sports player. Somewhere along the way, we lose that. And it's like, no, keep it inside of you. You can be whatever you want to be. I truly believe that. And essentially, if I believe it, I've got to live it. And my wife, she called me out last January. She doesn't play. She said, hey, baby, you tell everyone else to step into theirs, to go ahead and grab and try for their dreams. But look in the mirror. You're faking. And I said, you're right. And here goes why. I'm scared. I don't want my family to have to go through what I went through when my business was failing. That's not good. And she said, hey, I got you. Yeah. I said, wow, I knew I married the right one. So we were going to go on a retreat, drop off the kids with my mom and my sister, and then COVID hit. So we had to pivot. That was the word of 2020. We had to pivot and adjust and adapt. And essentially recently, just the opportunity opened up for me to transition out of my 9-to-5. And now I'm 100% out here as a motivational keynote speaker, inspiring, as well as coaching individuals to get to that next level. And my goal is to have an impact positively on 1,020 individuals in 2021. That's my mission.
I love it. I love it. It's awesome. And right now, like when I hear you talking, you're always this way anyway, but it seems to me like the stars have aligned for you right now, and you are in this synergy of your passion and living it. Like your wife said, like get out there, look in the mirror, and you do the same for you so that you can continue to give it to other people. And that giving back, that service piece, that's so important. Where do you think that mentality came from, that kind of giving back and that service piece? Because I think it's such a beautiful space to come from, and I think only good can come from it, no matter what. So where does that come from for you?
Yeah, both my mother and my father. Just my father grew up in Baltimore City in the projects. Tough upbringing, a lot of crime, violence, abuse. And he was the only one from his family to graduate high school. So really just knowing his background, knowing where he came from. Track, he was a long jumper, triple jumper, shorty long. Track was his way out of the hood. He ran at University of Maryland on a scholarship, and he just took advantage of the education, got his master's, and just he was a man of not many words. I get my words from my mom. My dad, he was kind of a quiet and kind of a gentle giant, but it was his actions. I mean, he just served veterans and served people and wanted to give back because he realized how blessed he was to come from where he came from. That's nothing but God. And he passed along to my sister and I, to my mom. He passed that baton that, hey, it really is our responsibility. And my mom, she grew up in Baltimore County, didn't graduate college, but just one of the smartest people I know. And it's one of those things when they voluntold me to volunteer at the VA as a youngster. And then when I was 11, probably 10, 11, 12-ish, they were like, we're not going to force you. And I said, hey, I enjoy this. When I'm there with the veterans doing crafts, my dad was director of recreational therapy, doing crafts, playing softball, just being around these folks, these veterans that have they put their life on the line for us.
Yeah.
There's just a feeling that I can't even describe, but it's just a joy. It's like, wow, my life has meaning because I'm able to provide joy to someone else when they need it. And it's just one of those things where it's kind of in my being. Like, it's just, I've been around it. And there's a saying that you are what you eat. You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, and spending that time with my parents and my sister just really formed kind of who I am today. And a couple of weeks ago, I did a midday motivational minute on who inspires you. It was my wife's birthday on March the 24th, and I was just spotlighting her, letting her know that she inspires me. Well, my mom came on and she wrote in the comments, my adult daughter and my adult son inspire me because they're just an excellent reflection of what my husband and I tried to teach. And it just brought me to tears. I had to go off camera.
Yeah.
My wife's drying off my eyes. I said, "This is supposed to be motivation, not tears."
Right.
It's she's so right. And I mean, I just thank my mom and my dad and my whole family, my friends, my teachers that have had an impact. Everyone has had an impact on this book. And I tell you, we're just getting heated up. We're in the good chapters right now, and it's been awesome along the way. And I know the future is bright, and that's what gets me excited, to be able to share that with other people and see them get that same passion and have that same smile for a mile, and just that feeling that, hey, yes, I can. I know I can. And hey, I gotta get that fear and uncertainty and that doubt out of my mind and replace it with that spirit of courage, that spirit of I can do whatever I put my mind to. So that's it in a nutshell. That was a long nutshell.
I love it. No, it's perfect. I mean, it's so good because, you mentioned it before, when we put on the TV, there is not much positivity there. There's not much motivation. It is despair, it's negativity, it's divisiveness, it feels really draining to just put on the television because the squeaky wheel gets the oil. The person or the news station that's the most obnoxious gets the most views, and the more dramatic they are and the more dysfunctional they are, it seems the more viewership they get. But the fallout from that is that you have this society now that is really, really suffering as far as mental health and stress and disease as a result of kind of how our society functions. And so to have people like you who are there paying attention, giving back, wanting to make a difference, and not doing it for the almighty dollar, but doing it because of the almighty and wanting to make a difference in the world is huge. And so I applaud you for that. What does it mean to you to be doing this, to be able to do this, to make an impact in people's lives? What does it mean to you?
It means the world. It means the absolute world. And I'll share a story. I used to substitute teach when I was in college. And there's no better feeling than to have an elementary school kid look up and Mr. Larry, to have a middle schooler. And that middle school was a tough transition time for them to say, wow, I appreciate you believing in me. You sharing stories. Wow, if you can do it, then I can do it because you're not that bright. I'm like, yeah, you're a smart one. They have the high schoolers who I could relate to, but just impacting people, there's no greater feeling for me. And some people chase the money. That's okay. That's okay. That's not for me. Now, I want to make a living for my family. I want to make sure I take care of my obligations, but I want to impact people. There's nothing better because that lives on forever. It's kind of like they say, keep your droplets to yourself. Well, I'm gonna keep my droplets to myself, but I'm gonna spread positivity because once you impact someone, one person, they can now impact people. And it's just a snowball effect. And that's what we need more of in this world, my belief. And it starts with each and every one of us. What are we doing in our home? What are we doing in our local community? I mean, your street, your block. What are you doing to impact people there? And then you can start to expand your reach to the city, to the region, nationwide, worldwide. But essentially, I'm just trying to do my part. And what does it mean? It just means the world. I very rarely am I at a loss for words, but it's tough for me to put into words just how much it really feels, how much it really means to have. I've been blessed to have the blessing and just the fortune to be able to impact others in the positive, for the positive, because there are so many negative Nancy's, negative Nellies. You look at the news, it's doom and gloom, and no, that doesn't tell the right picture. I talked to a gentleman who works in the news down in Miami, and he said, unfortunately, that's what sells. That's what gets advertisers. Yeah. And I just thought in my mind, that's a daggone shame. That's shameful. Shame on us for allowing that to happen. Shame on us for us not paying our teachers. I mean, I'm going to get off my soapbox, but these folks that impact our future, the youth, come on now. But things that make you go,
Yeah. I completely agree with you. And, the messages are few and far between around positivity these days. And I tend to disagree with advertisers. I know that's the only thing that gets a sponsorship is the negativity right now, but I don't know. I think that if we just started to change things and focus more on the positive and what good is in the world and how to take care of yourself and how to be, have a self-fulfilling prophecy that's positive instead of negative, then I think you'd get a lot more bang for your buck. I think you'd get a lot more viewers in the world.
And we can do it. I mean, we flew someone to the moon. I think we just landed a helicopter in Mars, chilling with the Martians. We can certainly figure this out if we want to. And that's the thing and that's the question. I think Tony Robbins says the most successful people ask the toughest questions. Therefore, they get the toughest answers. That's the question that we've got to ask as a society. Do we want to? And if we don't, why is that?
Right. Why is that so difficult or challenging? And, I think on some levels, people see emotion as weakness or not as a strength or something to be hidden, or it's just not valued in the right way. Compassion, for me, when I'm doing a Mindset Monday today with Game Plan U, and it's about compassionate leadership, being direct, but being compassionately direct. You don't want to be the most brilliant idiot in the room. You want to be able to be direct, but build people up instead of tearing them down, and not be afraid to go there to the emotional spaces, because you can't for a second think that what's going on outside of work isn't impacting someone's performance in the workplace. And if you're building them up and you're helping them to feel better about themselves and giving them trust and space to be creative, then you're building, a legend. You're building someone great in those moments,
So true. So true. And that authenticity. We're all going through this 4-letter word we call life. And life happens. There's ups and there's downs. I think the millennials call it YOLO. You only live once. Well, we've been on a yo-yo for the last year and a half. All the twists and the turns, the ups and the downs, the highs and the lows. And you're absolutely right. How do you empower others? How do you give them the support, give them the space, give them the encouragement? And sometimes it's the tough encouragement in order to get on that path to their inner greatness that's there. You got to carpe diem. You got to seize the day. And I mean each and every day, because tomorrow's not promised. We hear it all the time. Tomorrow is not promised. I go back to a little over a year ago, Kobe Bryant in January. I'll never forget. I was out in my cul-de-sac and I couldn't believe it. I think I saw the little ticker go by on the TV, went outside, and my neighbor said, "Did you hear the news?" And I said, I can't believe it. All of us. All of us we're running that race, and we don't know when our finish line is going to hit. So what we do know is we can control the controllables of right now and making the most of right now. And by making the most, I mean, how do you impact the most people? How do you have the strongest impact on others? That's what making the most is for me. So you're spot on.
Yeah, no, I think I love that, Larry. And the other thing that I think is so important that people need to understand is positivity isn't Pollyanna. It's not like you're just being positive so we can keep everything light and fluffy. There's real stuff that people need to hear. There's real feedback that people need to hear that's not comfortable, that is going to help them learn and help them grow, but you can bring it to them in a positive way that helps them receive it better and not put them on the defensive and not knock them down. And I think that's what you do. That's what I love. You're not telling people, oh, it's great, it'll be fine. What you're doing is saying life is hard, life is tough, bad things happen, and here's all this beauty that you can focus on while you're walking through the stuff, the mud, and while you're in the trenches.
That's right. It's kind of like being on a slingshot. On a slingshot, if you want to go forward, you better go backwards. And believe you me, I can look at plenty of times where I've been pulled backwards.
Yeah.
Just to be shot forward. And it's how you manage through it. It's how your perspective is, even through the chaos, the turbulence, the storm. The only way out is to keep going. I mean, that's the best way out, at least from my perspective. And it's like, hey, what did I learn? What can I pull from? What was the good? What was the great? What was the wonderful from this experience? And if you think hard, you can find those lessons in any situation. I don't care how dire it was. That's really a part of all of our journeys. And you're right. It's not all good. It's not.
Right.
I'd be lying to you if I said it was all good. But the perspective, the outlook, and essentially the future, you have the opportunity to write that chapter, the opportunity to paint that picture however you want. And that doesn't guarantee you're going to have success, but I make a conscious choice. I'm intentional about enjoying the process, enjoying the journey, the highs and even the lows, no matter how tough they are. And believe you me, I've been through some tough stuff. I've been to the bank before trying to make a withdrawal, and they said, you got jokes, Mr. Long. You haven't made a deposit. You don't have any money. I said, oh, no money. How am I supposed to buy groceries? Mom, Dad, can you hook a brother up with another loan?
Right. And that's so important too, is to really rely on the people around you that support you, those relationships. And, it's more than money could ever bring you, is the value that you get from the people in your life. And you've been speaking to that throughout this podcast, your mom and your dad and your wife and your kids and your mentors and your coaches. And we need to pay attention to them. We need to listen to their words. We need to embrace their support so that they build us up, right? Those are the people that build us up. Do you agree with that?
Oh, for sure. People want to help. And having your own personal board of directors, your own cheerleaders, and not all cheerleaders. You need someone who's going to come in and bop you over the head when you need it. I got mine, and my wife, she bops me in my head daily, which is definitely needed. We were just talking this morning about the cover of my book, and she was like, nope, that ain't it. That picture, nope, she keeps it real. So I have no worries about the person that's going to kick me in the behind when I need it. But really, those people that want what's best for you. And what's best for you isn't always the easy route. It doesn't always feel good. Sometimes you got to feel some pain. Sometimes you have to go through some discomfort. And I think they say the most growth happens right outside of your comfort zone, whether it's public speaking, whether it's going after that entrepreneurial idea that you've been brewing on, stewing on for years and years. That's really where the growth happens. And whether you win or you learn, enjoy the experience. And what I found is that, hey, everything generally happens, generally works itself out in the end. No matter what your situation is now, it could be worse, whether you believe it or not, and it will get better. Now, it's up to you to decide how long do you want it. I mean, I played baseball, and I struck out a whole lot. I mean, I was okay, but I still struck out a lot. And you talk about mindset. I started off my career 1 for 24. It doesn't take a math genius to know that is not good. That'll get you. Hey, Larry, what position did you play? Left out? Hey, coach, did I get in? Nah. Go to the end of the bench because whatever you have, it might be contagious. But I'll never forget, we were coming back from UNC Greensboro. My father made the trip down from Maryland, just supporting me. And we were on the phone and we were in the park. I was in the parking lot of the Burger King, I think it was. And my dad said, "How do you feel?" I said, "I feel terrible. I don't belong in Division I baseball. I don't belong in the ACC." And my dad jumped through that phone. He had some choice words for me. He said, "You can't have my name with a stank attitude like that." He said, "You better get your mind right. You better hit off the tee and get your skills right. But I don't think it's a skill. I think it's really up here in your mind." And he was right. Essentially, I went, hit more off the tee, trying to build my confidence, trying to manufacture confidence because I really didn't have it. I didn't believe in myself, even though my dad believed in me. But Carolina came to town. I got in 2 hits. All of a sudden, I'm like Kanye West. You can't tell me nothing. I'm on top of the world. I started on Saturday 3 for 4, but who's counting? Started on Sunday 2 for 4. Now, all of a sudden, the momentum is going in the positive direction. I'm feeling good about myself, and that's life. How do you keep that happy medium when things are going great? How do you stay on your grind and work hard? How do you keep that happy medium and stay positive when things aren't going well? When you're batting 1 for 24 in life, which, hey, let's call a spade, that's terrible. That's not good. But the question is, what you gonna do about it? Are you gonna keep going down? Are you gonna wave the white flag and just give up? No, I didn't think so. No, you're not a quitter. So let's get back to the drawing board. Let's work hard. Let's get our mind right and at least give ourselves the best chance to have success, to turn that ship around. That's all I want to spread to people.
Yeah, I love it. It's perfect. You know, it's helping people understand that life is probably 20% mechanics and 80% mentality, right? Like you have to have some skills, you have to know what you're doing, but life is going to go up and down no matter what. And if you can keep your mind straight, get your mind right, like your dad said, right? Then the possibilities are endless. And I truly believe that. And I love that message that you're giving to people. Larry, we're coming up on the end here. I want to help people get in touch with you on LinkedIn. This is how they get in touch with you on LinkedIn, right?
Yes.
And then your coursework that you have. There's a
far
sales
too kind.
class.
So look me up on LinkedIn, Larry Long Jr. I got the Smile for a Mile. I got the Face for Radio. And then my course, the Sales Allies, it's my online sales community and online sales training course, really designed to help build a solid foundation for sales skills. And in this game we call life, we're all selling, whether you have the title or not, we're all selling something. And it's all about perspective. My perspective on sales is that we're helping. We're playing matchmaker between our product, service, thoughts, or ideas with someone else's needs, their wants, their desires, their hopes, dreams, aspirations. And if we can make that match, that's sales for you. But so many times people look at sales and they're like, "Oh, it's icky." That's because you're dealing with me monsters that don't care about you. It's like, "Hey, doc, I came in and my shoulder's hurting." And the doc is like, "Oh, we're going to give you ankle surgery." No, you didn't hear what I said, doc. It's like going to the car dealership. "I'm looking for a minivan. I got 2 kids." "Well, let me show you this Ferrari." "No, what are you doing?" So we're having a lot of fun. I appreciate it so much, Denise.
That's awesome. Larry, thank you so much for being here. I love your words of wisdom. I love your energy. I love everything that you're doing. So excited for the book to come out. You said it's called Jolt. Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that'll be out sometime in the
end of 2021, early 2022. It's a masterpiece. I'm just joking.
I love it. No, it's going to be, right? It's going to be. Absolutely. It'll be a bestseller for sure. And I want to thank you again for coming on. And for those watching, if you like this podcast, then please click that subscribe button. Check out gameplanu.org. If you want to get in touch with me, you can email me at denise@gameplanu.org. And you can also check me out on LinkedIn. I am not too far from Larry on any given day. It's a small circle of people on that. I know there's millions and millions of people on LinkedIn, but there's a really cool community that I feel very connected to on LinkedIn. So, Larry, I want to thank you again for being a part of the Game Plan U community, because what you provide to us, the value that you provide to us, the support, and just your energy and your presence, is just amazing, and we are so grateful that you are who you are and that you are willing to take your time and mentor our founders as well. So hey, listen, if you're a founder and you want some support, check out Larry Long. He's amazing. And we'll see everybody next time. Thanks for joining us, and have a great day.
Thank you, Denise.
Thanks, Larry.